Of course, there are still so many unanswered questions about the police killing of Adam Toledo until today's video release, as well as uncertainty over lingering legal and political fallout. Here to help us break it down are WTTW News reporters Matt Masterson, who has the Chicago Police Department as one of his beats, and Heather Cherone, who, among other things, covers City Hall. Heather and Matt, thank you for joining us. So, Matt, let's start with you, please. Remind us what we know about the timeline on the night of March 29th, from when police were called to the time that Toledo was killed.
So this all started on the early morning hours of March 29th at about 2:35 a.m. That's when the Chicago Police Department received a shot spotter notification that there had been 8 or 9 gunshots that had been fired in the 2300 block of South Sawyer. A couple of 911 calls were made in the minutes right after that, and then police responded to that location where the gunshots had been fired at about 2:38, so just about 3 minutes after the shots were fired. And that's where things pick up. The body cam footage of the officer involved in this, you can see him getting out of his car at about 2:38, and that's when he begins his foot pursuit down this alleyway after Adam Toledo. And things from there move extremely quickly. The time between when he gets out of the car, the foot pursuit down the alleyway, and when he actually fires that shot is only about 10 to 15 seconds long.
And Heather, a few days ago, Cook County prosecutor in a bond hearing stated that Toledo had a gun in his hand when he was fatally shot. But now the state's attorney's office is walking that back. What happened?
That's right. The state's attorney's office told me today that prosecutor was not properly briefed on what happened and that he made an error, and that has been addressed internally. They said, quote, "The video speaks for itself," end quote. So that has led to, I think, a little bit of just the shock and confusion that so many of us have felt today, because we had thought that maybe this video would not be as bad as we had feared, when I think that picture of Adam holding up his hands right before he is killed is going to stick in the minds of a lot of people for a long time.
Matt, has there been any reaction from police department leaders or the police union since this video was released this afternoon?
So the Chicago Police Department has been pretty tight-lipped about all this, as there is an active investigation going on by the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. So that's still going, so they don't want to comment on this too much. The police department did invite some media members to view portions of the shooting video before its release earlier this afternoon, but they wouldn't take comments on it. They wouldn't provide much context into what that video showed. They just sort of showed it to us, and then it was publicly released a couple hours later. As for the police union, John Catanzara, the head of the Fraternal Order of Police, the union here in Chicago, he believes the shooting was justified. He said that the officer had less than 1 second to react as Toledo was turning around during this foot pursuit. And he said that even though Adam Toledo did not fire any shots at the officer, he said the officer was 100% right in pulling the trigger.
Now, since Toledo's death, Mayor Lightfoot has called for reforms to CPD's foot pursuit policy. Here's what she said today.
We have to do more, starting with reforming the Chicago Police Department's policies, and particularly the foot pursuit policy. I said this in August of 2018, and here we are now in 2021. Foot pursuits put everyone involved at risk. The officers, the person being pursued, and bystanders.
So, Matt, what specifically is the mayor calling for here, and how could that have changed what happened to Adam Toledo?
So the Chicago Police Department, it's not so much that it needs to revise its foot pursuit policy, it really needs to be created. This has been something that's been called out not only by the mayor over the years, but also the Department of Justice. The consent decrees monitoring team has raised some flags about this as well. And they've said that the Chicago Police Department needs to create a policy that can help limit these foot pursuits that are extremely dangerous for everyone involved. They need to put into language to explain when officers should and shouldn't engage in these pursuits, when they should let a fleeing suspect run away, and what to do if they're separated from their partners, and how they need to constantly reassess the situation when they are engaged in these foot pursuits. Lightfoot has touched on this in the past, but she hasn't specifically said what she believes needs to be in this policy. She wants the Chicago Police Department to craft something that is then brought to her. But if officers have more training about how to handle some of these high stress situations, it's possible that in this situation, Toledo is allowed to run and that he isn't pursued by the officer and the shooting doesn't occur.
Heather, the mayor was elected in many ways on police reform as that candidate, but she isn't supporting a current oversight plan in city council. She has yet to present her own. What's the holdup?
Politics, as it always is. So Mayor Lightfoot would not be Mayor Lightfoot were it not for former Mayor Rahm Emanuel's decision to tap her to lead the Police Accountability Task Force in the wake of the death of Laquan McDonald, who was also a teenager shot to death by a Chicago police officer. She campaigned vigorously in favor of an elected board being put in charge of the Chicago Police Department, and in fact stood with the organizers who crafted one of the two measures that is now pending before the city council. But when she took office, the mayor said that the devil was in the details and that she no longer supported it because it would remove the power of the mayor to make a final decision on policies like foot pursuits for the police department, and that's pretty much where we stand. There is a compromise measure where the two main community organizations have come together to endorse one plan, but the mayor has not allowed that to come up for a vote, and it's not clear how the stalemate will be broken and whether the mayor will come up with her own proposal.
Heather, you mentioned Laquan McDonald. This is like deja vu for many Chicagoans thinking about that shooting 7 years ago. In about 20 seconds, the biggest difference, you would say, between these two cases?
Well, you know, there's so much that we don't know about the death of Adam Toledo that it's hard to say. But I think that sense of deja vu is because Adam Toledo is another teenager who was shot to death by a Chicago police officer, just like Laquan McDonald. And there were so many reforms and there was so much energy behind making sure that nothing like that ever happened again. And I think part of the sadness and frustration and exhaustion that so many people are feeling today is because that in some ways it has happened again. And all of that has been for perhaps not.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. My thanks to Heather Cherone and Matt Masterson for joining us.
Thanks, Brandis.